Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Hey, pay attention. Welcome
Hi,
to the Q&A.
Hi, Jamil. How are you? Can you hear us? What do you want, a train? Jeez, we lost her. There's Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
Hold on. We're going to come back to you in a second. I've got to check with Jamil, all right?
Sounds good.
All right, Jamil. Oh, I think David's probably doing what I'm saying, and I'm doing it too, so I'll stop. Hi, Jamil.
She's on mute.
Are you on mute? Oh, did I do that? Did you do that? Did I do that?
I'll unmute the mic. There we go.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
How are you? This is great. This is exactly what I hoped would happen.
So we're clip farming this already?
Yeah. Jamil, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, what?
All right. Can you hear us? Why can't she hear us? All right. We'll come back to Jamil. We're going to come back to her. I'm going to add Joe. Joe, how are you?
Doing good, not on a bus.
Yeah.
Nice.
Joe, you signed up for Push.
I did.
Yeah. Do you have any questions about anything, or do you?
One thing that I was curious about, that I was looking into, like the playlists and stuff like that. When it comes to being a user, you're able to create favorites and create playlists yourself, correct? Or take your favorites and create your own playlists.
I don't. We may not be able to do playlist.
Okay, it's just whether you can favorite it or not.
Yeah, but you'll have access to a favorite tab on your My Comedy page. You'll have access to a favorite tab, and everything you favorited will be in that tab, so you can listen to it that way. But I don't have it set up to make individual playlists yet.
Okay,
I think
Awesome.
that's another level that I couldn't do. And everyone everyone premium and above will have access to those tabs. If you're a gold member, you can still favorite people, but you won't have access to that.
Okay.
That's something
Understood.
we made premium. And then all the followers too. So if you follow a bunch of comics and you click on that tab, you would see everybody you followed.
The other thing that's
Okay.
cool too about the follows and favorites is that they're going to be integrated with our profit sharing setup for comedians that provide content and have their own comedian channels. And so one of the things that we really want to do is create a sense of engagement with our audience members and our listeners. And so they can log on, they can follow your page, your channel, and they can also favorite individual tracks. And part of the profit sharing is going to be based upon that level of engagement. And right now we're also talking about creating like a kind of like an internal contest. So whoever increases their favorites on a month-to-month basis the most will receive an additional portion of the profit sharing as well. And so Joe and I have been very transparent in our other endeavors, VIP Ticket Hub, our streaming, about wanting to give back to comedians. And we've decided that the way to do that through Push Comedy is through active engagement with the listener through the follows and favorites function on the pages.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, fantastic. Oh, I had a thought and then it fleeted me.
Great.
No, so will that's the question I had. So as a comedian, what data will I have access to?
That's a really interesting question too. Is one of the things is this is a very DIY website. It was created basically because we saw a bit of a gap forming in the ability for comedians to monetize their content online through streaming. It's become much, much harder to get approved on some of the larger platforms. And so what we want to do was create our own platform so that people still had access to listen to really, really funny comedians who might be getting turned down from other platforms. And so one of the challenges with that is we basically started from scratch. Jill has been working very, very hard to get the site up and running, but we're not at the stage where we have a massive IT department that can, create coding that will give us analytics to listener retention, listens. And so we're relying on the items that we have available already on the site, like the follows and the favorites. And we're going to use listener engagement as kind of a analytics drive, but we don't have any specific analytics. That'll probably be something that in the future, as the site grows.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I might figure it out. My main goal was to get kind of everything that we needed to do this launch, and I want to have that stuff. But if I try to figure it out, that could add another 6 months to just trying to figure out how to give you comics the analytics that they want. If I don't worry about that right now, then we're able to do this launch that we're wanting to do right now, and it might be something that I can figure out, or like Jason was saying, it's definitely something that we might have to do in version 2. In version 2, I'm hoping is we raise a bunch of money and get this thing turned into a real app, and somebody who knows a lot more than me is building. Yeah. So.
Bless you.
Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me.
Right.
Awesome. So it could be even anecdotal, because I know you guys are still building it from scratch, but and you guys do have specific requirements, but do you think there's an ideal track length to upload as a comedian?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be right in the 5-minute wheelhouse. So someone asked a question the other day. They said, I have a 30-minute audio recording that's really quite high quality. Can I submit that? And right now, the short answer to that is no. We're not really doing long form submissions other than our own internal content from the World Series of Comedy. But there's a lot of really great editing software out there, or if you want to pay someone on the Push Comedy team to edit your clip for you, I would suggest try to get as close to 5 minutes as possible. That's the real sweet spot for listener engagement, someone who's going to listen to the whole track, and also to try and get as much of your own content in one singular track. Anything lower than 3.5 minutes right now will probably lead to an automatic refusal, like non-approval. Anything longer than 7, probably the same as well. So between 3:30 and 7 is the length that we're going to accept. If you jump on the website and look on the dashboard where you're uploading, there's a little more or information button that states that criteria. But our suggestion is to get as close to 5 minutes per track as possible, because that's the real wheelhouse from an analytics point of view of listener retention.
Yeah, and we're not going to stick to all these rules 100% like Stern. It has to be this. I mean, we're going to listen to the stuff, and we're just saying these are the guidelines we're giving ourselves to make it work right and what we think will work best. But I mean, if I know right now, Mark Britton, Chinaman, had submitted some of his tracks, and they're under the 3-minute mark. But we're not going to tell him no. He's been doing this for 35 years. These tracks were recorded years ago in high quality studio stuff. They're perfect tracks. I mean, they're going to be on our stuff live. We're not going to say no to those tracks.
Another thing that I think can maybe help inform this question and the answer actually is, if you have not yet recorded content that you'd like to submit to Push Comedy, my suggestion would be in your set construction, try and put together a set that feels like a series of 5-minute bits back to back to back to back, because it'll be so much easier to edit. And then even with something like Mark Britton stuff, maybe we go to Mark and go, hey, it might be best if we just combine 2 of these tracks to turn these 2.5-minute tracks into 1 5-minute track. Are you okay with that? And so sometimes the answer to the question comes from a completely different perspective. And so set construction can be a very important element in terms of recording your own content so that you can have it very easily parsed in the future into the right track length that would work best for a platform like ours, or for some of the larger platforms as well.
Cool. Joe, I'm going to move on to Dan. because I know he
Sounds
has
good.
to go. But thank you, Joe. I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
See you,
thank
Joe.
you guys. Appreciate you answering.
Bye. Dan. I know Dan only has a few minutes before he has to run out, so I'm going to talk to Dan.
Actually, I came to the location early so that I wouldn't have to leave and drive. So,
Okay, so
How
then
was parking? Was
All right,
parking
fine.
okay?
yeah.
Oh, Dan, that's terrible. Dan, he's being an asshole about parking in where
Boise.
yeah. I can't pay attention. All right. Got any questions about push, Dan?
I've been trying to rack my brain about it. I've been talking with you guys so much about it lately. I really don't have too many questions.
How about this? We will, because this I'm recording to mostly get reels and stuff. How about I take you off of here and you look at the comment, or you have the comment live chat?
I don't think I do.
Private chat thing on the side. You should be able to see it.
I think I see it.
Yeah. So in there, David will send you a question that you can ask us, and then we'll bring you back on. Make sense? I think you froze. I'm assuming you froze. David, send him a question.
Hey.
Yeah, David will send you a question.
Second. Damn it.
All right, I'm removing you. I'm putting Derek on. Derek, what's happening?
Hey, bud.
Hey,
How are you?
pretty good.
That's a nice mustache you got going there.
Thanks, man. You're not the only one who thinks that.
Yeah, I know. The ladies like it. It's disgusting.
Some ladies.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got to be careful now. All right. You have any questions about push? Anything? You've heard me talking about it for months and bugging the shit out of you and all kind of stuff. Do you have any thoughts or?
I need to look at it more. That's for sure. To get on to the push, anybody had any fans or anything that would have to sign up for it, right?
Correct. The thing that we were hoping happens is the comics will. How are you saying that, Jason? They'll be pushed by the comics. They're partners with us. So I mean, if you want to make money from this, you kind of need to try to get people to sign up. So
yeah, that's what it seems like. The appeal to me, at least, is a lower barrier to start getting things like that moving. Because, like you said, some of the bigger platforms, I mean, it's just this faraway dream to see any return on on your work.
Yeah. So I think the more work you put into it, the better chance you have of getting, making some money from it. But the goal is to get the comics to at least get 15 gold members signed up, or 6 or 8 premium ones, and then channel would be free. And then after that, any money would come in, you'd make money off it.
Yeah, I guess it kind of wraps into what is the revenue sharing for the platform. So there's 2 aspects that you can use, 2 methods in which you can generate revenue through Push Comedy. The first is through a referral system for subscriptions. So if you get a subscriber for a gold membership as a listener and they use your individual exclusive referral code, you get $1 a month as long as they stay signed up as a subscriber. And if you get someone who's a premium subscriber, you'd get $2 a month. And so if you're operating your own Push Comedian channel at $14.99, if you had 8 premium subscribers using your referral code, you're already in the profit on a monthly basis. And so that's something that we feel that comedians could easily push after a show or through their own email lists or on their social media. And basically what it is we're trying to generate as much active listenership as possible. And then the secondary revenue stream and profit sharing that we're doing is based on engagement. So these subscribers, you should be asking them to follow your channel, favorite your individual tracks. And what we're going to do is we're going to divvy up the pie of the profit that we're sharing and divide it by the relative engagement. There'll be a FAQ on the website on how the actual semantics of that goes down. But basically, if you can get people to sign up and engage with the website, you're going to have a much better opportunity to generate revenue and monetize your content.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seems to me is a much faster way to get to some point of monetization than pretty much anywhere else. Which even if it started small, it would at least be started. You know.
Well, and the other cool thing about it too is that Push Comedy is on demand. It's online everywhere in the world that you have access to through data or through Wi-Fi, and you can listen to the track anytime. It's not like some of those other big ones where you have to wait for that track to be played, and you only get paid if they choose to play your track. And so even though the individual per track payment is higher on some of those other platforms, it might only get played once every 8 or 10 or 12 weeks. So you might have a track on a very large streaming service or satellite radio service, but it might only get played 4 times a year. Whereas if you engage with your audience members, your customers, your family, and your friends and say, hey, I've uploaded 14 tracks to Push Comedy. You can listen to them anytime you want, as often as you want. Please favorite it so I can make a little bit more money. Please follow my channel so I can make a little bit more money. Please sign up for subscription so that we can all support every comedian that's on that site. And there's ways for you to be a lot more active and engaged with your listening audience than hoping they hear your track on a satellite radio or a large streaming service.
Derek, is there is making money the main reason you would like to be on Push? Monetization, is that like, I understand that you want to make money off of what you're doing, but I mean, do you think you see benefits other ways for this? Or
For sure. I mean, it would be a community of people who are all looking for what I do, essentially, you know, to have access to a community of people who are looking for comedy content. I mean, that's great.
cool.
Yeah,
I think if we were to,
it's essentially a tool to get access to your fans and other people's fans. Like, that makes sense to me. It seems like it would work.
Cool.
and there's some chats popping up on YouTube where people are like, I'd like to get booked from it. I'd like to have this other element that could either work as a credit, or I could guide a book or two and say, hey, here's my content. You can listen to this right now, stream it at your leisure on your phone or in your car while you're driving. So I think there's lots of ways that Push Comedy can help influence listening and add a level of credibility to someone. And I think the biggest thing that Joe and I have talked about is there's so many great comedians out there that are underrepresented, and Push Comedy is meant to be as universally, transparently operational so that you can get online and streaming and have people have access to your content as easily as possible.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird time, you know, nobody really does albums anymore, you know, like in this time where you're trying to figure out, okay, when I have an hour's worth of material, where do I put that out at? How do I publish that in a way that is productive? This seems like a good idea.
Cool.
You know.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Bye.
See you, Derek.
Who are we going to next? We have Glenn, who I've never met.
Real quick, Joe, I wanted to pop in here. We have a question I think would actually make pretty good for a FAQ clip or for a reel. Yep. Jim Barnes is asking, in which format should we upload content? With a fantastic spelling error in there. All right.
Where?
At least.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's like I typed this question. I think I typed
Shupled. What format shupled we upload? Well, we take MP3.
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 Yeah. I think that's the only format we can accept.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars one, MP3. I mean, if you only have your content already edited in a WAV file format, which is a lot more bandwidth to save, you can easily convert it with free online tools. WAV to MP3, save it as MP3 and send it to us as an MP3 in the upload platform on the dashboard of your profile.
Yeah, you get a dashboard where you can upload. All right, let's go to Glenn. Can we go to Glenn? I don't know Glenn. And Glenn just signed up for the Push Comedy. Glenn, can you put your face on here? There you are.
Yes. Sorry, I was listening in.
That's cool, buddy. I
Hello.
saw that you just signed up. I think you were our latest one to sign up for Push. How did you hear
Yes, I
about
started
it?
doing it today.
Yeah, how did you hear about it?
Got the email about it to the email listed on my website because I run a small record label, so I've been
Cool.
producing my own stuff and stuff for other people for a decade now, and constantly looking for new places to try to put stuff. So seemed interesting. I started the process of building the backdoor, and then I actually had to give up at one point to go do a virtual gig this afternoon. But the main frustration I've had with it so far is having to rename all the files when I upload them. It says like, oh, it has to be, your name dash your name.
That might have
title.
been me. That might have been me being a little bit too anal. I've had a couple people yell at me about that, and I'm going to look into seeing to try to change it. The main issue for me was I just didn't want to have a bunch of file names of people we may not know, or like maybe you called your file like GT.mp3 and we wouldn't know who that is. So that's why I was kind of stressing the naming of it. So when we look at the files on the back end of the website, we're able to make sure that they are going where they need to go. I don't necessarily think it's as important for the comedy one, the comedian that you signed up, because they're already attached to your channel. So maybe the naming isn't as important there. I think you saying that you produce other things, you would be like the perfect candidate for our producer one. And that's where you can get 100 tracks. Like for the comedian one that you signed up to,
Yeah.
it can only be you, and it can only be 40 tracks from you. But if you are a producer and producing other people and you signed up for the producer one, then you would have 100 tracks and
multiple channels.
Multiple channels, multiple comments.
Yeah.
And I think,
I figured because the email mentioned like the trial period for it, so I figured give it a shot, see if.
I have a question for you, Glenn. These tracks that you already have and have named, are they registered with the ISRC codes and stuff already? Okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe what we can do is when Joe and I look into this particular issue, see if we can find a way that we can conform, because obviously then you wouldn't have any duplication, because each ISRC coded track has to have unique things to it. And so maybe there's a way that we can find a way to align with that. I know that when we've submitted to some of the larger satellite and streaming services in the past, we've had to submit a very specific spreadsheet that had all these codes on it with the individual track names, their length, their genre, all that kind of stuff. And so we're trying to duplicate that without making it extra work, but it sounds like we accidentally made it extra work while trying to make it more simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like it's not insurmountable. It is just like, oh, before I start uploading these, I have to drag everything, make a copy, rename it.
Yeah, I mean, if you already have them named correctly for that, we should be able to accept that. So I think Jason's right, and I think that's something that when I get back from this gig that I'm at this week, when I get home, I'm gonna jump on that and change that and make it.
But it sounds interesting. So I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah. All right, I'll work with Glenn, and I'll make sure that you just submit the names. Don't change anything. Submit what you got, and I'll look at them and go, yeah, that worked. And that
because I think all the file names are the track names as they appear on the albums they're from.
Yeah,
I don't remember if they have my name or not.
There might be a way in the future that it's not currently configured this way, but there might be a way in the future where we allow bulk uploads of tracks.
Yeah.
But right now, most comedians are submitting 10 or fewer tracks when they do upload. So the individual tracks makes more sense, because then we have it all set up to automatically go to our Cloudflare account, and then we can now download from our Cloudflare account and get the corresponding URL to assign to the website and the platform so that it plays properly with the correct track, and then we can get the metadata from it with the title of the track and the name of the artist or performer. And so there's elements right now that are in place that are automated. But with producers in the future, we might figure out a way to do a bulk download. But right now, we're kind of hamstrung by the configuration of the actual coding of the site. And so the actual coding of the site requires us to find a URL for each individual track. And the way that we found most efficient to do so is to go through this upload platform. I know a lot of people have asked questions about how do they upload the content. You go to your dashboard after creating your account and then just follow the steps there. But by doing it individually, it saves each track individually on our Cloudflare account, which then assigns a specific URL to that particular track, which we can then link to the platform on Push Comedy, which means that all of this behind the scenes stuff happens in order for a consumer to just press play and for the right track to play. So.
But it's cool. Right, I appreciate that you asked that question, and it's really cool. You're the second one that's asked me about this, and I'm starting to realize that I might have set up the name thing a little bit too strict. And so I would really appreciate it if you would take a little bit of time and just upload what you got, and then I can look at it. Like I said, I'll look at it on the back end. I'll be like, oh yeah, that totally works. I know whose it is and where.
I can. The plans to try to get it done today or tomorrow.
Yeah. Reset it up on the front end so people don't have to be. I don't have to be so strict.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Right. Thanks for the question.
Thanks, guys.
Anything else, Glenn?
Did you explain all the categories? I was looking at some of them.
Not yet.
Some of them are pretty clear, right? Like clean makes sense, but like there's spectrum is specifically the one I was curious about. But there were like a couple others that seemed a little vague, and I couldn't find if there's like an explanation on the site anywhere.
Yeah, we haven't written a description yet for them. We just got them up there, and that's something that we're going to write. There'll be a description for each one that will explain them more. There's like 20 of them right now, so I mean, for us to go through spectrum. Somebody who's on the spectrum, comics that are on the spectrum. There's a lot of them out.
That's what I guessed, but I wanted to make sure before I started tagging stuff with it.
Yeah, so when we soon we're going to write a description. We just got all those genres up there and got the stuff, but then I was talking with Jason how we need to write a description for each one. So there's something that explains it, kind of like the albums have a description, or your track or your channel has a description. We'll be able to add that there.
Yeah, they're helpful to have those tags.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Yeah. We'll do that soon. That's a good call. I like. Glenn has given us a lot of work. I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is a lot of work, Glenn. Maybe. No, I'm just messing around.
My apologies.
No, that's cool, man. Where are you out of?
Jersey.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll we're gonna get the descriptions on there, and then hopefully that'll help anybody who doesn't know or isn't sure what each category is about. That's
right on.
All right, hang on. You can keep watching if you want. You can go to the YouTube stream and watch if you want, and
we're gonna archive it as well.
Yeah, and if you're watching and another question pops up, just type it in the private comments. Chat, and we'll throw you back on.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Thanks,
man.
guys.
All right, let's go to who are we going to? You want to go to?
You want to go to Dan with that question?
David's back. I mean.
I was going to say we can go to Dan. We have two questions that kind of play off of each other that I think would also make for a good clip. The first one, is it only for stand-up, or can we put sketches on there as well?
Yeah, someone else asked about podcasts.
Yes. Is it just comedy material, or can we use 5-minute podcast audio clips? So I'll kick my.
Okay, well, I'll just ask a question. So, Joe, we've been getting a lot of questions about whether this is going to be stand-up specific, or if people can upload podcasts or improv or sketch comedy. So what state are we at on Push Comedy right now?
Right now, we are just doing stand-up comedy. That's it. You and I have had a pretty big conversation about podcast, and I think that is a great plan for us to do in the future. And sketch comedy, somebody said, that would be cool. I think that's a really good avenue to go to. The thing that I'm thinking about, like you said in the question, somebody asked if they could add a 5-minute podcast clip. That's different than adding a podcast on here. If somebody got a channel and they submitted, I would say that they would need to submit at least 5 comedy tracks to be approved for the channel. But, you know, they're allowed to have 40 tracks. If they have a 5-minute podcast track, they can submit it. And if we think it's funny, I can see us adding that actual.
Yeah. One of the things that
if they had a little skit or a little bit they wanted to add, but I would say the first thing they would need to do is submit 5 stand-up tracks.
But the other thing that we're going to do is we're prioritizing stand-up, and we're prioritizing getting these push comedian channels up and running. There was a question in the comments from the YouTube here about I registered a couple of days ago, but my channel's not up and running yet. Can someone get on and find out where they are in the submission process? So I think that's a really good question for us to ask. One of the things that hopefully differentiates push comedy from other streaming platforms and from other satellite radio platforms is we want to try and be as transparent as possible in terms of where you are along in getting your channel approved and getting individual tracks approved. So Joe, why don't you talk a little bit about the steps that we have in place and some of the things that you can check into on your dashboard to see where you stand?
Yeah, I mean, you and I kind of got frustrated with just figuring out where we were at on some of the platforms that we dealt with. So, I mean, yeah, the main thing with push is I worked hard on a nice dashboard for each comic. And when you sign up as a comedian or a producer, you'll be able to go to the dashboard and you'll be able, the first thing you can do is make your channel. And none of this will be seen live on the push comedy right now until you meet the criteria that's needed to have your channel go live. And part of that is you have to have your graphic, which is just a square graphic of your face or whatever. And if it's not, like, somebody just signed up and their graphic's not square, so I got to send them back a message and saying, your graphic's not square, it's got to be square. And if they can't do it, I'll help them do it and get it square. That's an easy thing to do. And then the next thing is they start submitting tracks, and the graphics for those tracks need to be square. They can be the same picture for every every track, or you could have a different picture for every track. But they need to be square, and you got to then submit the MP3, and then it goes into a queue that we listen to, and we're going to listen to for length, for quality, for funny. And once it's approved, you'll see a check mark on that track. And once you see 5 check marks on it, then you go into the next part of the process would be promoting your channel. And we're not going to just automatically make it go live. I think we're hoping to make it like a 2 or 3 week process after that, where we want you to make some reels for us, for them, for yourself. We want you to do some Facebook, some social media posts saying it's coming. We want you to try to let your friends, family, and stuff know that you're coming on to push. Make it like a big launch, and we'll have a big launch day, and we'll talk about it on all our socials that we're going to be launching your channel. I mean, we're going to take it. I want to make everybody's channel when we launch it, make it a big deal. And if so, we may only launch 1 or 2 channels a week. I mean, if we have 10 channels that were ready, then we'll launch 10 channels. But if they're not ready, if somebody doesn't do their part, then their channel will just get pushed back another week to get launched. And that's how this is going to grow. If the comics put some effort into it and really make their channel like it's a big thing that we hope it is, then people will want to log on that day when it gets launched, or they can sign up early. And maybe before you even go live, you got the 6 or 8 or 15 people that you need signed up, where you never have to pay for your channel. It's just, right, you got a live channel, and then you got people, supporting you, and that's it. So,
yeah, and I think the one thing that we want to do is try and be as transparent as possible. We got so frustrated with not getting answers as to why some of our content wasn't being accepted or uploaded, or out of the blue, 7 months later, we would get some of the tracks of this submission have been accepted, and then not finding out until we got our residual checks, and the comedians got their residual checks as to which tracks were actually accepted and starting to get played on some of these larger platforms. So we want to try and be as transparent as possible in terms of where you are, where you stand, and when it can launch. And this kind of ties into some of the other questions that we've had about listening side of Push Comedy, the listeners' ability to purchase either a Push Gold membership or a Push Premium membership. Right now, Push Gold is $4.99 a month. Push Premium is $9.99 a month. We've had some questions in the YouTube comments asking about whether or not there are any free opportunities for people to listen for free. This is going to be a subscription-based service. There may be some promotional giveaways that we have at some point in the future where we offer 2 weeks for free or a month for free just to get some people actively listening to the content. But one of the things we want to do is make sure that we have the content first. And so that's why we're going to comedians first, trying to curate content and make sure that we have an attractive platform for the average listener to log into and listen to all these great comedians.
Dan has a question about that. Let's bring Dan on. Dan.
Yeah, you said it was 3 months free, and what were the subscription prices after that?
Well, for the comedians, for comedians, Push Comedian and Push Premium, we have it set up right now where it's 3 months free. And for Push, let's just talk about Push Comedian. It's 3 months free, and then after that, it goes to $4.99 a month, and it'll stay $4.99 a month until their channel goes live. And then once their channel goes live, it goes to $14.99 a month. And that's kind of where we're saying if you get 15 people to sign up for the gold, your $14.99 is paid for. If you get, I'm going to do the math here, $2 for premium. So I would say, are we going to let them have $1 off then? So if they get 7, that would be $14 instead of 15.
So they owe 99 cents a month for their Push Premium.
Yeah.
Think of Push Comedian. Your Push Comedian profile basically is your channel on Push Comedy. It's where your content is hosted. It's where you're going to direct your listeners to. It's where you're going to ask people to follow you. It's where you're going to ask people to favorite your individual tracks. And that's going to cost you eventually $14.99 a month. But right now we're offering 3 months free because we feel as if there's going to be this period where people are going to have to curate their own content, upload it, go through the approval process. And then if they're at a stage where they're not fully functional to go fully live, we still want to make it cheaper than any other full-time price offer. So that's why we're offering $4.99. But if you sign up today and you can get fully approved within the 3-month period, you'd be graduated to $14.99 a month, but you'd also have your own unique exclusive referral code. You can start suggesting signups for customers and listeners, and you can start generating revenue through the revenue sharing method that we have with the referral code.
Yeah. So I think, we talked about it. I feel like 3 months, the reason we chose 3 months is we feel like that's enough time for a comic to get their channel set up, start submitting some tracks, edit what they need to, try to get it approved. And while they're doing that, sending out emails and text messages and Facebook messages and whatever to their friends and family and saying, hey, sign up and use my name. So when that 3 months ends, they're pretty much free and they got their, and now there's more listeners on there for you and for all the other comics, and you're making some money right off the bat. And like Jason just said, if you're not ready for that, if you only got 3 tracks submitted and you just don't have enough people signed up and you're not ready to go live, then we're giving you that cheaper price just to kind of so you can keep building without having to pay the full thing. The reason we made it, I think one of the main reasons we have the $14.99 is we have to this isn't a big company and there has to be money coming in, but our goal is for no comic to pay that. But if a comic says, I don't care about paying that, I'm not going to push it. I'll just say, hey, my stuff's on there, but I don't care about making money. Well, then it's only $14 to have a channel on here, $14.99. But if you,
that's not bad.
Yeah, but if you're like, I don't want to pay that, you're like, well, here we're giving you many, many avenues and many ways, and we're going to help you every way we can to try to help you not have to pay that.
Yeah, our goal is to literally give you a launch date. So once your channel is approved and you have the correct number of tracks and we're ready to go, it could be like, hey, Dan, your channel is going to launch on August 23rd. So start to gear all of your social media messaging that August 23rd, your channel will be live on Push Comedy. And so then whether it's audience members, your email list, family, friends, social media posts, whatever it is that you can help generate eyeballs and ears towards Push Comedy, using your referral code is a way for you to generate revenue.
For the business of Push Comedy, the platform, we would rather no comic pays that $14.99 and earns that free one, because I would rather have 5 comics with 15 listeners signed up than 5 comics paying the $14.99, because I mean that's just less listeners, and the more listeners we have, the more comics are going to want to sign up. So if every comic does what we hope they'll do or push, the majority of them I think will. There'll be some that don't, but that's fine. But the majority will say, yeah, I can get 15 people, and if they all get 15 people, that would be really great for the whole platform.
Mhm.
You have another question, Dan?
No. I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
Cool.
bud. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, bud.
There's
Glad
a couple
you're
other
back in.
there's a couple other questions in the comments that we can maybe address quickly from YouTube. There is a question there about what's the motivation.
You want to
What's
say
that?
bye to Dan, or leave Dan on here, or say bye, or
Oh.
I'll see you
Bye,
guys.
Dan.
Bye, guys.
go ahead.
All right, so here's a question here. Adobe Audition. I don't even know Adobe Audition, so
Adobe
you probably-
is probably, I don't know it that well, but I know Adobe. It's probably their some kind of recording thing, editing thing. As long as you can save from Adobe Audition, save it as an MP3, then yeah, you can use that.
Yeah, use any editing resource that you have available to yourself. There's tons of free
that
online
question was-
editing resources.
Yeah, so that question was from Michael Chiselka, who came in second place, I think, 2 years ago. He's incredible, and he has a ton of videos from us. So any video that you have from the World Series of Comedy or WSOC Records, that audio right there is the quality is what we are looking for. So you can take that audio and throw it into your Adobe, whatever you said it was, Adobe Audition, and cut those tracks into the track lengths you want and save them as MP3s, or throw it into any other platform that you can cut those tracks from. And yeah, Michael's got a lot of.
Yeah, that's a really good point to bring up for a lot of the people who have heard about Push already, also have either participated in or know of the World Series of Comedy. And if you've participated in a World Series of Comedy event in the years 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026, all of the audio that has been associated with the video clip that you've been sent, with 1 or 2 exceptions, so like maybe 1 or 2 shows total over the course of those 4 full seasons, is already mixed audio that has been balanced and edited properly, because I know that very, very firsthand. So it's much easier for me to approve audio tracks when I know I'm the one who already mixed them. And so if you use your World Series of Comedy video, whether it's from your wildcard show or from your round 2 show, or if you made it all the way to the finals and you have a 25-minute clip that you want to clip into 5-minute segments, and then download those as an MP3 and submit those, they're virtually guaranteed for approval, because it's audio that we created ourselves. And whether it was the host, Derek or David or whomever it was, synced the audio to the video. So the audio is already mixed from the separate recording equipment that we take out to every single event for the last 4 years.
Cool. I think we have another question, but Jeremy's been waiting forever. Let's bring Jeremy in, and then we'll ask that question.
Sure.
Jeremy.
Hey, bud.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for on and watching and stuff.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like he's ready to run the radio station. We should have had him on the whole time, just hanging out to the side. What's up, buddy? You got some questions?
Yeah. Hey, I'm so stoked for this. It's so cool. And I'm excited about having a producer channel
Yeah.
for bar comedy. Mostly, even more than a comedian channel for myself. So I was wondering, and I think we talked a little bit about this, Joe, is if I could have venue channels on my producer channel. So pick 2 or 3 of my top places that we bring bar comedy to, and have like a live from Boxcars in Clinton, Wisconsin, or a live from the Comedy Garage in Chippewa's, Wisconsin, and have those be like official locations, recording locations for Push Comedy, where then we also promote with signage and things like that there.
Yeah, I think that's a huge plus. We've talked about this before, but I mean, just like I'm sure you can see on the screen here, I have the channels open up on producer channels. Yours could be like that. Really, all you need to do is sign up and start making the graphics, and then have each one. And each channel kind of has to be approved. You have to get some tracks for each channel. But like once your producer channel's ready, then that'll be on there. And then our thing would be like you would at least have at least one channel underneath here, before we put you live. And then once you're live on here, people would come here and they'd see bar comedy right here. And then when they clicked on it, they would see at least one of your channels from your bar, and then you could add the next one once you get five tracks ready, and 5 tracks, and just keep adding them. And I think you can go up to 20. You can have 100 tracks on there, and you can divide them up in as many. So if you wanted to do, I'm not even going to try to do the math on this, but you can have 100 tracks, and you can divide them by 5. I mean, 100.
This is getting clipped for sure.
Yeah, you can have 100 tracks, and you can have.
Are we also relaunching Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
5. Oh, man. The two of you are better with math. You can switch them up any way you want.
I just really was enjoying that.
Yeah, I know you both were, and I hate you both for it. Jeremy, you can do a lot with it. I'm looking forward to adding your producer one on here. It'll be fun.
That'll be cool.
And I think other people realize, because if you know us and you come on here and you see these 2 producer channels, they're like, oh, that's them. But I want people to get on here soon and go, oh, wait, there's others. So I'm wanting you to do yours soon. And then I'm hoping that other people, some of these comedy clubs we travel to, or
like that Glenn guy from earlier who jumped in.
Yeah, Glenn signed up for a comedian, which is cool. I mean, if he's a comic and he wants to have his own channel, but he should sign up for producer if he has other people that he does, and he could have his company on here.
I'm just going to jump in here for a second, because in the YouTube comments, our friend Yoshi jumped in with a couple things. First was watching Joe trying to do math in his head is an absolute joy. So I love that comment.
Yeah, he can be there.
But he did have a very poignant question. He said, "What are the requirements?"
I don't want to hear it.
What are the requirements to get approved for the producer channel? And so for the producer channel, Joe just kind of walked through it there for a second, but you basically want to.
If he wasn't so busy picking on me, he would have heard me describe that you submit it, producer channel, and then you submit your artwork for your channel, your producer channel, and we approve that. And then underneath it, you would submit your first channel that's underneath your producer. And once you get 5 tracks for that one, you would go live, and then you could submit a bunch of other.
One of the things that we've sort of envisioned this for too, as well, is maybe we've kind of envisioned this as well for maybe someone who runs a weekly show or monthly show. So it could be, whatever, Funny Fridays from the Lumpia Factory in San Francisco or something like that Ira runs a show similar to that. But the one thing that's very important on the producer channel is that we need to make sure that you as the producer have approval for ownership of the copyright of the material that you submit. So you would need to have some kind of electronic or written confirmation that you could have, Yoshi, just for an example, that Andy Ginnin's track could be on your producer channel, that sort of thing. And so I think that's a really interesting point that a lot of people brought up in some of the emails leading up to this Q&A, was about the ownership of their own content. And sorry to hijack your question here for a second, Jeremy, but people have asked about whether or not they have to give up exclusivity of the ownership of their content and the intellectual property of their content. And no, that's not the case at all. We're just trying to create Push Comedy as an additional avenue that you can stream your material online that's available anytime, on demand, whenever you want to listen to it. And so you can still submit to other platforms, other streaming platforms, to other satellite radio platforms, to distribute it on your own. We're not asking for any ownership rights. We're just looking for you to give permission for the track and the content to be loaded to the platform for our audience to listen to.
The simple answer is we started WSOC Records and recorded a ton of comics over the last several years for the World Series of Comedy in WSOC Records, which is still alive, still doing it, still recording with WSOC Records. And we're constantly looking for places, and Jason and I have had many conversations about trying to get all the tracks onto the other avenues, and we can get some of them on there, and some of them it costs too much money for us even to get the tracks on there. And we were just sitting around one day, we're like, how in the world can we get these 800 or more tracks that we have out there for people to hear? And we decided to, as crazy as it sounds, we decided to create our own platform. And in the last 10 months, we've done it. And I'm pretty proud of the way it looks and the way it works. And that's the simple answer. We just wanted a place to put the tracks that we created. And as we were doing that, we were like, holy shit, other people could put the tracks they created. And that that might not even have been in our head at first. We were just like, let's make a place for us to put our tracks. And then we were like, this is easy enough for other people to add their tracks. And we're like, this could be so huge and so great for comedy fans to listen to this stuff over and over again, super easy. And we're pretty excited about it.
And one of the things that we found was that the online streaming platforms and the big boys in this space, the opportunity for the everyday comedian was really drying up. In the last 5 years, it's been a lot more affordable to record yourself in high quality, which means the volume of submissions to those very large satellite radio platforms and the large streaming platforms, they've just been overwhelmed. And through no fault of their own, they're not able to approve as many tracks as they were previously. And one of the things that Joe and I have always discussed, and Jeremy as well, with the festival, is that we want to try and give as many opportunities to comedians for exposure as possible and to monetize their content, whether that's through our ticket sales platform, whether that's through our online streaming platform of live shows, and also through WSOC Records. And when it became clear to us that WSOC Records was not going to be granted most favored nation status with some of these large platforms, and we are no longer in the 90 to 95% approval rate, which we were when we started the relationship with satellite radio. But now we're at a stage where we're just like everyone else, and 90% of our material is being non-approved. I had a really interesting conversation with the executive vice president of SiriusXM one day, the content creator manager, and he said, there are people with Netflix specials whose entire album are not being approved for play on SiriusXM. They're hand cherry picking 2 or 3 tracks. And so if huge names in comedy aren't getting approved at that level, Joe and I realized that there needs to be another platform for comedians who are being frozen out of the opportunity to be streamed online. And we just think that Push Comedy is the coolest, most inclusive opportunity for people to listen to live stand-up comedy of comedians that we know are very, very funny, who don't get the opportunity to be on these larger streaming platforms. And we think that it's going to be a really fun and cool and creative outlet for comedians to share their content with the world.
Cool. Jeremy, got more questions?
Yeah, I had one under the category of doing sketch comedy. If we made that like a season, So all 8 or all 13 or however many episodes are put in there, could they be released that way in episodic nature? And then that might increase the stick factor for your subscriber or your followers?
I think I like that idea. I think that what if I guess what I'm thinking is what if that sketch comic didn't have stand up to submit? So they may not have stand like my original thought was they would need to set up a comedian channel or a producer channel, and then they would need to at least submit 5 stand-up tracks before we would start approving a sketch track. But now in my head, I'm going, what if that sketch comic doesn't have a doesn't do stand-up, but they do sketch, they do improv, they have a whole sketch thing like you're talking about doing. That's something I think we might have to think about. I think it would be an easy ad. I don't know if we even need to have a button for it. I mean, it could just be under their channel if they set up comedian and set up, you know, Jimmy's Sketch World. I don't know what it would be, whatever the name. I guess it could be the name of the little sketch that you're saying and have 12 5-minute episodes.
Yeah, but I still think, kind of harkening back to our answer earlier in the Q&A, that the priority for this platform right now is going to be stand-up comedy. And so I'm not sure how high up on the priority list for approval sketch would be.
Yeah, and I also think that would be a fun thing. I mean, you and Jason and I had a pretty big conversation about podcasts, and I pretty much vetoed it. And it wasn't, you know, I mean, he agreed with me after we talked. I don't have the right to just say no, but we talked about it. And the main reason, and I love the idea of having podcasts, and I love the idea of having sketch. I just would love to get this off the ground with just push comedy, the one simple thing, you know, stand-up comedy, the one simple thing that we understand totally. And then I think once it started moving and once we had an audience, a nice size audience and a nice group of comics on there, boy, that'd be fun to send out an email saying, hey, in the next 2 months, we're launching a whole sketch series and then adding a button to the menu sketch and getting comics aside. That'd be like a whole new thing that we could, I think it might be better to do it that way than to have it mixed in right now. And then eventually do the, podcast the same way, like have a big launch on it.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, we could have push sketch, we could have push podcasts, we could push the push brand in a lot of different directions. But I think right now our largest audience for content creators are stand-up comedians. So I think that's probably going to be our priority focus. Just while we're on the subject, I do want to touch base a little bit on a question that someone had posted in the chat for YouTube about the quality of audio. So if your quality of audio is just coming off of your phone or off of a camcorder, it's probably not going to be up to par. You're probably going to fail the specs from the technical audio quality point of view. But my suggestion is like get a free ChatGPT account or just Google. It's like, what's the most affordable, high quality audio recording equipment I can purchase? Maybe buy a lavalier mic, maybe there's a couple of different, there's Tascam, which is one of the recording devices. There's also, what's that one that Derek uses? Joe, do you remember the name of that?
Zoom. There's a Zoom, probably the best one. I mean, we use Tascam and it's pretty good. I'm excited about it. But I mean, Zoom, we've used Derek's Zoom and it's pretty incredible. If I was if I already had this stuff, I'd start saying, hey, I'm going to be at this show or this open mic, come out and I'm going to record you $5 and I'll record your track. And you do that enough. Now you have your free channel on there and you give them the track and then they submit. You could make some money doing it. I mean, or if you just want to be cool and go out to somewhere and do it, set it up and record. I think that's something you talked about, Jeremy, was trying to, a lot of your bar gigs, you have a lot of the comics bring the sound sometimes. That's part of the deal. They bring the sound and set it up for the show. And something you and I talked about was you might start asking comics, do you have recording stuff to record audio? And if somebody does, then you might, and they have that and they have the sound, you might put them in the show before you have somebody else, because they can record the show and send you the audio then.
That's right. And then I also thought about with the locations being it's a specific, official location for Push Comedy, bar comedy on Push Comedy. Send them or have them install the Zoom recorder or the Tascam type of equipment and have every show they record using that same thing. Very similar to how they have the installation at McCurdy's for open bar. We
Yeah.
could have that and then have that signage everywhere, and on table toppers the QR code to be able to subscribe.
That's
Yeah,
great.
there's a lot of ways to integrate Push Comedy with day-to-day performances. And someone asked a question about, as a headliner, what's my main motivation to sign up for Push Comedy and maybe pay more attention to my account and be active on promoting? And for me, I think there's a few different things that are really cool about it. One, it could end up being another credit for you. Two, everyone who's in the audience who just listened to you, who just loved you, who just wants to start to follow you, is a perfect candidate to sign up through your referral code and become a new subscriber to Push Comedy. You can also sell them on the fact that, hey, it's not just me on here. There's hundreds of other great comedians on here. But you can start generating revenue directly by letting audience members know that they can sign up through your referral code when you're standing at the merch table or handing out your paraphernalia or selling t-shirts or giving out postcards. We could do things like set up a QR code for you that goes directly to a sign-ups page for listeners to either purchase a Push Gold account or a Push Premium account that has your referral code automatically on the QR code. So there's lots of ways for you to promote yourself live, but then there's also your social media, any email database that you might have. Joe, what are other reasons why headliners should have a Push account?
Well, I mean, if you're trying to get in on any of these other platforms and you're just hitting a brick wall, why not choose us? We're tearing down that wall. I like Ronald Reagan, tear down that wall. I mean, we're tearing it down. Really, we just want you on there, and we want everyone on there. If you're good and if you got some good tracks, we want it on there, and we want you to have access to it. It's funny. 17 years ago, I started the World Series of Comedy, and I started it because I wanted to help comics, and that's what this is too. And this is 17 years later. I'm starting with you guys another thing, and I didn't think I was going to turn World Series of Comedy into a credit, and by no means did I think that was what I was building. It was just a festival that helped comics. And the first couple of years, people might have put World Series of Comedy winner or something on their stuff, and no one knew what that was. And now I see it all the time on social. People are posting the logo and as seen on World Series of Comedy, and I'm like, oh man, holy shit! I created a credit, and I think it has some. There's some people that might not so know what it is, and some people may not care. But a lot of bookers, a lot of clubs, and different things look at it and go, oh, okay, if they made it through that gauntlet, they're probably pretty good. I'm hoping that happens with Push. I hope that eventually people are saying, as heard on Push, and people know exactly what it means, and they're like, oh, cool. I know they had to go through a little bit of process to be on there, and not anyone can be on it. We're hoping everyone can be eventually, but it's gonna be a good place to have it. So if you're a headliner, I don't know why you wouldn't. It's
Right.
just after every show, all you have to do is when you're on stage, just go sign up for Push Comedy and use my name. And hand out a card. And if you do headline a week at any comedy club, you're going to be at least in front of at a minimum 300 people, probably more. But if you hand out a card to every single one of them, it's a great way to get them to come to your merch table by just saying, hey, come over and get this free 1 month free card from me. And then if you're in front of 300 to 500 people a week and you can get 20 people to sign up here, I'm going to try to do some math again. But you get 20 people to sign up and you do that 5 times, that's 100. I chose 5 because I know 5 20s is 100. But I mean, if I would have said 6, I think I could have figured out that it's 120 people. So, I mean, if you get 120 people to sign up after 6 shows, 7 shows, you're making $120 from us every month.
Per month. Yeah.
A month.
I just want to jump in.
That could grow huge.
Yeah.
I started if this wasn't around when I started, and it wasn't around because it didn't exist then, but it also, if this was around when I started, I'd have pushed the living shit. I would have been making as much as the owners of Push Comedy. I would have had I would have had a laptop.
That's a loaded mathematical question, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. But I would have had a way. I would have had people signing up. I used to have a ring binder where people could write down their address because none of this existed. They'd write down their address. And when I showed back up at a club, I'd send them a postcard. No one was doing that when I started. I was just a feature act, but I was collecting email addresses, no emails because they didn't exist. I was collecting physical addresses, sending them a postcard when I would go back to town. If this existed with the stuff that's out now, to me, every comic that's in the World Series of Comedy should be standing up at the end of every show, fighting to hand their card to the audience members. Last night we had, 60, 70 people in the audience, pretty packed. Scott Lloyd handed out a QR code to every audience member saying, hey, try out our beta test for 1 month. They're going to probably, if any of those sign up, they're going to choose the WSOC as their person they heard it from. They could be choosing Scott Lloyd or Derek Luna or any of the comics that were in that show. And I don't care. So if you're a headliner, just hand that out. And
yeah, I think it's a great promotional tool. It's a great way for people to continue to listen to your comedy. It also could be something, I've heard a lot of comedians do this before, like when they're selling a CD, they're like, oh, this CD has other content I didn't say tonight. So that's a great way on Push too. If you have a track on there of jokes that you didn't tell on stage and they liked you, it's about, hey, head over to Push. There's some more content that you hadn't heard before. I want to jump into a couple other questions from the...
Let me ask Jeremy one question real quick. Jeremy, you're a headliner. Why should you do it?
Well, for all the reasons that you just said, I would have been doing the same thing when I started out, even as an open micer. And I was doing a lot of that same stuff you mentioned with collecting regular old addresses and sending postcards. And this would be great. If you are really any level of performer, of a comedian could be on this, and it cuts through the clutter of having to figure out the ever-changing algorithm of social media or sending people to your YouTube, and
no algorithms.
They might listen to your one clip on YouTube, but then they get caught up in the rest of the rabbit hole that is YouTube, and they forget all about you. So it's almost like a super advanced EPK that's also audience member friendly, not just for industry people.
Yeah, I think it's a great way for people to just listen to you and listen to more comedy of your own comedy and comedians like you and of your caliber. I think it's just a great landing place for people to listen. There's a question about whether or not...
off, and then we can ask these questions.
Okay.
That way the video will be better for...
Okay. See you, Jared Dog.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Later,
Jeremy.
bud.
Good to see you.
Bye. That way when we do these questions, it will be...
I got you. So there's a question about whether or not there's going to be an app for Push Comedy. And so I think the answer to that is right now it's a web-based platform, but there's a very simple way that you can get a button that fits on your app screen on your phone so that you can use it Bluetooth into your car or use it as if it were an app. And we'll send out instructions with that for anyone who signs up. So
also on the bottom of the homepage, but that's probably not the best place for it because once you sign up, you really never can get back to that page. So I agree with you, Jason. We're going to send an email. I think that's something when we're still working on that, some automated emails for this for Push Comedy. And I think as soon as we get that set up, we're going to have that sent out.
Yeah. So again, version 1 of Push Comedy is not an app, but you can create a single touch button that can live on the app page of your phone. So you can launch it in a very mobile friendly way link that to any Bluetooth device that you want to. And so, yeah, like Joe's showing on his phone there. So that's 702-205.
I don't
And
care.
so,
Yeah,
so that's one of the questions that we had. And then another person was asking about, oh, I just lost the chat. Oh, what happened here?
I don't know.
I just lost the chat
Carol?
on the YouTube that I had open.
How are you, Carol?
Mhm.
Is there an algorithm to suggest new content to subscribers? How will listeners discover they want to listen to besides the comic? Algorithms. There is no algorithm right now. We do not have the capability of building an algorithm. Like I said earlier in this podcast, if we, in this stream thing, if we tried to figure that out, we're probably looking at another 6. An algorithm sounds to me scares the shit out of me, and it sounds like it's probably a year or 2 to figure it out. My hope, and I know this is Jason and I've talked about it. My hope is we get this thing going. It starts to grow. If we get enough comics and we get enough audience members listen to it, like I believe we will, we're going to try to get some financing. And I don't know if that's going to happen. It may just grow big enough that Jason and I are like, hey, we don't need to do that. It's working pretty cool. But if it keeps growing the way I hope, we're going to try to get some, there's ways to get people to invest in this stuff. And we looked into that, and that might be the next version 2 kind of thing. And in that version, I would like to see this thing turn into an app. I'd like to see it built up where there's an algorithm that would help the people. Algorithms sometimes drive me nuts too, so I don't even know if I like them, but there is a need for them. And then the other thing would be to maybe go the Spotify route where we add ads and we get millions of listeners and it's free for them. Right now, that's not something we can do, but that would be kind of a cool thing. And at that point, if we got some money backing and we could turn it into an app, we could do some incredible social ads that could possibly get us 1 million users for free, which would be super cool for all the comedians. And you would just get discovered. And the comics that are on here now would definitely be part of the algorithm if we added it.
One of the other things that we talked about, though, so one of the questions that Carol asked there is like, how will people stumble upon some of the content? And one of the things that Joe and I have talked about is through the listener engagement, whether that's through follows for individual push comedian channels or favorites for individual tracks, is we're hoping to create a monthly top 10 list. And so that a user could come on, someone who has never listened to push comedy before, they'll jump on the genres page of the My Comedy landing page after they sign up for their account using referral code, pay Rowland all the money, I think is the code that I'm going to use for my own. Does that work? So then there'll be a genre that is going to be top 10 lists. And so it could be the top 10 tracks of the month, or it could be separated by different subsections. So we're definitely going to try and do as much as we can with the available tools that we have with the current platform. And the biggest tool that we have to understand engagement from our listeners is the follow function and the favorites function. And if a listener has signed up for a premium account, then their favorites turn into like a customized, very long single playlist for themselves. And so I think that's going to be a way that people might be able to discover comedians that they otherwise may have not jumped on the website to listen to, is by going through the genres or going through our top 10 lists, or if they're a premium member, jumping on some of the premium content tag stuff.
Yeah. The other thing is, I can't even remember what I was going to say there, is, I don't know what I was going to say. I'd like to see, man, I had something. It's gone. Yep. I like the whole genre thing, blah, 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 blah.
Top 10 lists.
Top 10. Favorites.
Follows,
likes. Nope, don't remember.
One of the things that we've talked about a lot is that we strongly believe that push comedy is going to be a partnership between push comedy and the performers that provide content. And so that's why we have two separate streams of revenue sharing. There's a revenue sharing stream with the referral code, and there's a profit sharing profit sharing model where it also divides based on your engagement from the public. And so we really believe in the partnership. So some people have asked, how do you expect the audience to grow? And we think that it's going to be part and parcel between our exposure through advertising, through our live performances at World Series of Comedy events, through our curated database from the last 17 years of audience members through Zippy Vote, or people who've come out to see live comedy, the people who show up at live events for us, but then also the comedians promoting it on their own. We're going to try and provide you as many tools as possible so that you can promote your own channel, promote your own content. And even if you don't want to get a Push Comedy subscription and have your own channel, but you want to submit a singular track that you think might fit well on one of the genres, then we offer that opportunity as well. You just need to have
we don't have anything set up right now, but I mean, you can get our email everywhere, and you can email us a track and it'll get put into the queue. Like I said, we want audio from every comic in the world. It's just a good, fun thing. And yeah, I think right now, if you jump on now, how many tracks we got up there now? I think we have almost 200. And we're going to, with the comics that we've had a pretty nice push of comics signing up. So when their channels go live, we're going to have 200 or 300 tracks. That's a lot. But I think any audience members we get on there will find you pretty quickly. I mean, eventually when we have 10,000 tracks, that it may be harder to find you, but I think if you send them there, they'll find you, and they might just like the genre that you get put into. Somebody might want to just listen to female comedians, and so then you'll be in that genre. Even if you have a channel, like Carol asked a question, they may not find her channel, or they may not look that deep into the channels, or whatever, but they may just go, you know what, I just want to listen to women comedians, and she'll be there.
There's also a search function on Push Comedy.
Right.
So if you're in the Latino genre and you hear a track from Jessica Rosas and you're like, oh man, she was really funny, let me just search in the search bar, are there any other tracks from Jessica Rosas? Then you might find the fact that under premium there's an entire EP. So
I remember my question.
Okay, I thought there was a power play for the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, I remember my question, but I almost forgot it again, and I did forget it again. Oh, here's what we're hoping happens with this beta testing. This is a kind of a beta testing month. I think it's pretty much working properly, but we've had about 20, maybe 25, 30, maybe almost 40 comics sign up already. And I've already been emailed a couple issues, and I found a few myself that I was like, oh shit, that's messed up, and I fixed it. But if you have an idea for us, this is new. You're comedians. If you sat at home and you go, man, I wish this existed. Well, we're trying to build it. If you have an idea, let us know. If it's something we can't do yet, we'll let you know. If it's something we forgot and we can do and it's good, we may go, oh shit, that's a good idea. If you know how to do it, or really, our pricing, the way we're paying people, we were just trying to think of the opposite way the other platforms do it. They play by how many spins. Well, right now we're not going to have a lot of spins. There's going to be spins, and there's going to be, hopefully it's going to grow, but it's just not going to be a ton. So you have next to no money.
And we're sort of using the YouTube model and Instagram model of creating engagement with your listener. And we feel like if you can guide someone to Push Comedy and they have to follow, or you suggest them to follow your personal channel and favorite 5 or 6 of your tracks, they're more likely to listen to those and then be like, wow, this is very good quality comedy. Let me listen to someone else here. And so that's our goal, is to try and get as many earballs on Push Comedy as possible. And by rewarding engagement, it will help.
If you're a comedian or anybody listen to this or seeing this reel or seeing any of this, and you go, oh, I think I can help those guys, get a hold of us. We'd love it.
Yeah.
We'd love it.
David, do you have a second to put up the email address? Just team@pushcomedy.com on the bottom here. We might not use it for a reel, but at least it'll be up here for the YouTube archive.
For the
And
end
then,
of the thing. I got to show.
So that's the best way for you guys to get a hold of us, is just team@pushcomedy.com.
Not a capital T though.
What's that?
Just kidding. I said not a capital T.
Oh, I thought the whole thing about the World Series of Comedy was the capital T is the most important part.
No. The capital.
I lost David backstage. He's laughing too hard. We're going to wrap up here in a second because I know you have a World Series show tonight. There's still 11 people in the chat right now, which is awesome, watching live on YouTube. Before we go, are there any questions that anyone who's watching on YouTube would like us to try and answer before we wrap up? There's a question sort of here about, I think if it's my own channel and for my fans and supporters, as long as the audio can be heard, I don't think I should be rejected if my audio isn't professionally recorded. Yes and no, but the fact of the matter is that everyone would have the opportunity to listen to your channel if they had a subscription. And we want to maintain the quality of the brand of Push Comedy. And so when we approve tracks, there'll be 3 main criteria upon which they'll be approved. Number 1 will be the quality of the comedy. Number 2 will be the quality of the audio from a technical point of view. And number 3 will be the length of the track. So those are the 3 most important things to think of when you're submitting audio. And then some people had also asked about submitting audio. Once you sign up for your account, go to your profile, go on the dashboard, and the upload process is explained there.
So their question was saying they should be up no matter how it sounds.
Yes.
I'm a comedian, and I've been doing this for quite a long time. And I understand that. I understand what they're saying. But for your brand, for yourself as a comedian, you should want the best. And sometimes what you think is the best isn't yet. It's just not. It might not be ready yet. And sometimes you need that outside person to help steer your career. And years later, you'll go, man, thank you for not letting me put that up. And just like Jason said, everyone can listen to this. Everyone. So you want them to hear the best. And if we would put up a lot of badly recorded audio, not bad jokes, but recorded audio, listeners aren't going to put up for that. If you paid for Netflix, but they just put up
standard definition Netflix would be awesome.
Yeah, if they put up videos that were recorded from your phone and just terrible, and that's all, they had a whole bunch of that mixed in, you'd be like, I'm not paying for Netflix.
Yeah, you wouldn't find the value. There's the potential that audience members would not find the value in continuing their subscription if there was some poor technical audio on the site. Yeah. So it's important for us to maintain that standard. And it's a standard that is equivalent with what we release with WSOC records.
And the thing is, it's so easy today. Maybe if we would have been able to release this somehow 5 years ago, I see where we're saying the audio has to be this quality. I can 100% see, I don't know how to do that. I can't get that done. Well, that's not an excuse today. In this day and age, like we talked about earlier, you could buy a cheap lavalier mic. You could get good audio. You could buy they sell Zooms on Craigslist for $100 or $200. Now I know that's a lot of money to put out for some device, but if you record all your shows and get the good audio on here of your good jokes, you can make that money back quick. And you could also make that money back by recording other comics with the device. And you can plug those right into the soundboard. So when you're on stage, you're talking to the mic, it's getting really nice audio. It's just too easy to get audio. And if you don't want to try to get good audio, in my opinion,
part of the reason why it's harder to get onto platforms is because it is easier to record good audio. For under $500, probably even much, much less than that, you can have excellent audio. You can every single WSOC records release, and we're on number 17 or 18 or something like that for full records we've released, has been edited on free software from Audacity. And so $200 to $500 for equipment and a free online editing software.
The Tascam we use, it runs about $300 to $400, but you could go much cheaper. We just happened to I got that given to me by a friend, and that's what we use. So the next time it broke, we bought another one because we knew how to use it, but you could go much cheaper. The two boom mics that we use to record the audience are $40 for both, $20 each, $40. We lost them once, and we had to buy some from Guitar Center for the week. I took them back, but we bought them from Guitar Center to use for the week. They were $200 or $300, and I was praying that it wouldn't sound better than what we used, because I know if it sounded better, we would have kept them, and it didn't. We took them back to Guitar Center. The mics we use for the audience, I think I spent $40 for it. They're just two little mics that you don't need the whole setup we have, though. You can do it from the soundboard.
Someone also just, it's not expensive to get good quality audio. And so
if you don't want to do it, you're just not wanting to put the work in. And if you don't want to put the work in, then this might not be for you.
Yeah. Someone also just asked in the YouTube comments whether or not this will be available for later viewing. Yeah, we're archiving this Q&A, and it will be up on the World Series of Comedy YouTube channel. And at some point in the future, we'll send out a link to it, maybe in the next couple of days. They're like, hey, if you missed the Q&A, there's an hour-and-a-half long archive of what we discussed. Dozens of questions were asked, and we tried to answer them to our best ability.
I plan to watch it when I want to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. The thing that astounds me about this Q&A is that we answered more questions than individual jokes that you have in your headlining set.
Thank you.
12 questions, 11 jokes. What is the dumbest snack?
The dumbest snack?
Snack. Stupid snack.
Yeah, the stupid snack. If you know that, text me.
Yeah, mention in the comments. Flame the comments. Here, now we're real YouTubers. Like and subscribe, everybody. And then comment the proper emoji for Joe's joke. The stupid snack.
It's not, I mean, you can't just say this is the stupidest snack. There's an answer.
Yeah, there is an answer, and there is an emoji for it, and flame the comments with the emoji.
That's right.
Yeah, and for the 99% of you who don't subscribe, what are you doing?
Please subscribe. All right. I got to go. I got a show.
All right, Elon. Later, bud.
Yep. Bye.
Thank you, David.